Good morning, Rich. Thank you for allowing me to introduce to you not only two of the greatest 354 players to ever play this game and have a bronze bust in Canton, Ohio, but I got to tell you, these are also two of the finest men I've ever met in my association with this business with the NFL. The first one, to be one of the greatest safeties in the history of the game. 15 seasons. I believe there were 11 with Tampa Bay, 4 with the Broncos. He was a vital addition to the Bucs defense that dominated the NFL. He's credited with 90 or more tackles in a remarkable 9 seasons. He was voted to 9 Pro Bowls. In all, he recorded 26 interceptions, returned for 204 yards, 13 sacks, and more than 1,000 tackles. It is once again my honor to welcome to Canton, Ohio, Hall of Famer John Lynch. Our second is certainly one of the greatest of all times. 18 seasons with the Indianapolis Colts and the Denver Broncos, for whom he each won a Super Bowl. He broke many of the NFL records, including career passing yards, career passing touchdowns, single season passing touchdowns. He earned Pro Bowl honors a remarkable 14 times. He was the NFL's most valuable player an incredible 5 times. He passed for 4,000 or more yards 14 times. You know him as the sheriff, as the mayor of Peytonville, but forevermore and hereafter he shall be known as Hall of Famer Peyton Manning. As we did with our last session, I'm going to just start off with both these guys with a quick question, which is, how did you manage to keep this a secret for 2 weeks? Let's start with John. How about you?
Well, thank you, David. I was feeling pretty good about myself until you read Peyton's bio, and that's humbling. But I agree with you first and foremost that he's one of the greatest people I've ever met. I'm proud to call him a great friend, and as to your question, how we kept it a secret. I think more startling to me is how my wife kept it a secret when you told her, Dave, and I think she learned Thursday and Sunday of championship weekend. You knocked on my door. I was getting ready to go to Mobile the next day, and was really the Hall never really dominates my mind, but I was very nervous about whether it was good news or bad news. How the heck am I gonna get this news? Because I was going to Mobile, and to get that knock, loudest knock I've ever heard, and probably the best knock I've ever heard. And how we kept it a secret, I went to work. We were in Mobile doing my job and kind of forgot about it, which helped pass the time. And Peyton and I were able to get together on the weekend, spend some time together, and so proud to be a part of this class with him, with Calvin, with Alan, with Drew Pearson, with Bill Nunn, with Tom Flores. Am I leaving anyone out, Dave?
We'll get them all, I promise.
All right, but so very proud.
Yeah. Well, listen, Linda and Ashley were incredible co-conspirators here. But Peyton, how about yourself?
Well, likewise, Dave. It was a real honor to find out last Friday. I appreciate Ashley kind of organizing that football moment, having all those coaches walk out behind me, and then there was a video on the Jumbotron from some more coaches. So it was 30 years of coaching that flashed right in front of me. But like John said, it was kind of tough. They tell you this great news, and they said you can't tell anybody for 2 weeks, which easier said than done. Coincidentally, John, Eli, myself, and a friend of ours from Denver that John and I have in common had a golf trip planned on the Thursday and Friday of last week. And then obviously once John and I both got the news, I sort of called him and I kind of said, "Hey John, anything new with you these past couple of days?" And he's like, "Yeah, maybe. Anything new with you?" I said, "Yeah." So then we kind of acknowledged we both received this knock on the door from you, if you will. And so that really was a fun golf trip. Got to be there with Eli and kind of have a little quiet celebration. Nobody else could tell while we were drinking some champagne and having some toast. I couldn't tell anybody. So it has been fun, though, Dave. I did, kind of violate your policy. I did call some people these past few days to let them know in advance and to thank them for being a part of it. And John and I were together last night for dinner here in Tampa and got to watch the videos on TV. And it was fun to see all the other guys' videos. It was really special to see John's, and it was fun to kind of relive what happened 2 weeks ago for me all over again last night by watching the NFL Honor Show.
Hey, buddy, it was so great to see your coaches and for John to see your family and to have a special moment for two guys who've provided so many special moments for all of us who love the game. So thank you. Let me just ask all of you on the phone on February 11th from 8 to 8:30. The NFL Network will be showing a whole lot of other footage that we have about their post reaction and everything else. And again, what's great about this is I really do think you get to see the heart of these guys, and these two guys in particular, how much they love the game. We'll try to take as many questions as we can to start off. Let's kick it off with Matt Mayako from NBC Sports. Matt.
Thank you, David. Congratulations, John, and congratulations, Peyton. My question is for John. John, when you were drafted as a baseball player, you had a coach in football also that I think was a year out from being a Hall of Famer. And I just wanted to ask you, what kind of impact did Bill Walsh have on you? And did you ever kind of look at him in those terms of, here's a Hall of Fame coach. Is there a chance I can ever aspire to that and get a gold jacket myself?
Well, thank you for such a great question, Matt, because I'm getting chills thinking about it. I'm thinking, so I'm sitting here in Tampa. I'm literally in the place where we lived in Harbor Island, where in 1993, myself and Linda got separate apartments, because our parents, we weren't married yet, didn't allow us to live together. So we got apartments. But I'm thinking back to Bill Walsh in 1992. I was drafted after my junior year. And, my story's a little different. I was a quarterback for my first couple of years, so played sparingly my junior year at safety. Denny Green made the switch, and I played about 40% of the snaps. I was drafted by the Marlins, went out and played in the New York Penn League in Erie, Pennsylvania. And I remember one day getting a call from Jane Walsh, who was Bill Walsh's assistant, saying, Coach Walsh would like to speak with you. And got on the phone with Coach, and he asked me when I got back to the Bay Area if I could come in and meet with him. And I'll never forget, as long as I live, he said, I understand the great opportunity you have in baseball, but I believe that you can be an all-pro safety in the NFL. And I said, with all due respect, it took all my courage to say, with all due respect, Coach Walsh, I played 1 year at safety and I played half the snaps, if that. What leads you to believe? And the detail that Coach Walsh went through, he had made a tape, and it was a play that I made my junior year, and then a play that Ronnie Lott had made the previous year, and then a play that I made blitzing the quarterback, and a play Ronnie Lott had made. And he started, and I think of all the people who kind of spoke this into existence, and Coach Walsh was so instrumental, because I would have just gone off and played baseball. That was I signed with the Marlins. My heart was with football, but I said, hey, I've got a future in baseball. And until Coach Walsh told me otherwise, that's where I was going. So I certainly would not be here without Bill Walsh, and God bless his soul. I know he's looking down smiling.
Great, thank you. And also, what was the guise under which you got together with the family? What was that supposed to be? Obviously, nobody could tell you it was Hall of Fame.
So Matt, I don't have much time off in my current role as GM, but when we do, we like going to San Diego. We've kept our home there because my kids won't allow me to let it go, and it's a special place for us because we have so much family there. So it wasn't unusual that on a Sunday we went to Mass, and then everybody came to our house, and it was championship weekend, and so we were in our little bubble down in San Diego, and my parents, Linda's dad, my sister and her family, my brother and his family, came over after Mass, and we were going to watch Championship Sunday. I had to pack for Mobile, and I'm a procrastinator when it comes to packing, and so Linda pulled me back to the closet and said, let's finish this so we can go have a good time. And Linda had the coolest thing is that Linda had not only kept it a secret from me, she kept it a secret to my parents, to my kids. And so when David knocked on, it was a surprise, not only to me, to everybody else in the house other than Linda. And, I've been on the other side, being in a hotel room and getting the call that I did not make it. I know it's going to be a lot of work on David, but I think that the COVID way of doing it, getting it around your loved ones, Peyton did it with all his coaches. I think it made it even more special. So be a lot of work for Mr. Baker, but it made it awful special.
It's a pleasure, my friend. It's a pleasure. Let's go to a former selector, Jeff Legwald. Jeff?
A former selector.
Yeah. Oops.
John, Peyton, I'm just curious, looking back in retrospect, what did you think your time in Denver would be, honestly, and in that moment? And did it exceed what you thought you had remaining in your career, or just what were your thoughts going into that time, and how did it turn out? Better, worse than expected?
Well, Jeff, I'll start. I just want to make a little side note that I'm a little disappointed in John's Stanford education, not having a little bit of a clue that he's having a family reunion at his house. Something special is not going to happen. I got to tell you, even a Tennessee grad could have figured that out. Look, Jeff, as we've talked about many a time, coming to Denver, it was an anxious period of time. Coming off an injury, learning new teammates, new coaches, a lot of the same things that Tom Brady's having to go through right now. I was nervous, I did not know how it was going to play out, but Denver, the Broncos organization, John Elway, John Fox, Mr. Bolin, I remember having a couple of conversations with him that first year, and even though his health was declining, everybody made me feel welcome, and that was really helpful in this kind of transition period for this second chapter of my football career. For years there, be a part of another championship team. As I've said many times, Jeff, it's not what I wanted, because I always wanted to play for the team that drafted me, which I think every player should shoot for that goal, and not many get to do it. John Elway got to do it. Troy Aikman, Dan Marino, my brother Eli got to do it. And but things happen. Injuries come into play, and you got to find somewhere else to play. So Denver was the best place for me, and I'm really proud of my time there with the Denver Broncos.
Great, Peyton. Let's go to the guy who gave your presentation, Peyton, from Indianapolis. I think you dropped the mic after about 10 seconds. Mike check.
Hey, real quick, let's just let John answer that question about the Broncos. I don't want to run this press conference here, but I think it's still a question.
Excuse me. Go ahead, John.
I'm shocked Peyton taking over. He's calling plays, but no, I appreciate it, Peyton. It's shocked. It's interesting right now thinking how the parallels, because the same thing. I dreamed of playing my whole career in Tampa, but injuries made it such that we kind of agreed to move on, and never forget Mike Shanahan saying that I think this is the perfect place for you. And I think the one thing Peyton will agree, because I've talked with him about this, it does kind of reignite you. You get in a comfort zone, even though you try with all your power not to get in a comfort zone, but driving to work, it's different. It kind of wakes up your senses, and Peyton can attest to this as well, because he's still living there. And I promised him that I'd forever be there when we recruited him to Denver. But circumstances brought us back out to California. But it was such a great place to live, such a first-class organization. Pat Bolin, I think Mike Shanahan, Greek, the trainer who's been there. It's just, they did things right. And Mr. Bolin was such a tremendous man, and he was all about winning, and he was all about facilitating anything that it took to win. He was an owner that was there all the time, but wasn't doing people's jobs for them. He was just there to let you know he cared and wanted to do everything he could to win. And it was such a great move for myself and our family. Our kids were really raised there. And then for our football, we unfortunately didn't win a world championship. We got to the AFC championship, myself and my teammates, and we came close, but man, it was 4 great years, and I'm so thankful to the Broncos and everybody in Denver for making it such a wonderful place. We ended up staying there for 11 years, and it will forever be a part of of the Lynch family, and our charitable efforts, the people supported. It's just a wonderful community.
Thanks for that response. That's a great one and a great audible. Mike Chappell took his hand down, so let's go to another selector, Mark Craig.
Congratulations, guys. This question's for Peyton. Bruce Arians said that you, Tom Brady, all the great quarterbacks have fast twitch reactionary brains, and without it, you can't be great.
Oh, we still okay.
Do you think that's something you're born with, or something that you create and develop?
Mark, probably hard for me to say. Probably guys like Bruce or longtime quarterbacks coaches, Clyde Christensen and David Cutcliffe for me could probably give you a better answer for the people that they've seen before. I guess I really didn't know that I was maybe good at doing that until I got to University of Tennessee and was playing as a freshman, and Coach Cutcliffe was my quarterbacks coach and offensive coordinator, and he just kind of shared with me that he was going to give me a lot of information because he could tell that I could process a lot of information quickly. And I think that is a good trait for a quarterback. And when you can process it all and then make these, what Bruce described and Coach Cutney say all the time, fast twitch decisions, fast twitch, not holding the ball any longer than you have, being able to get a quick survey of the defense and to make a fast twitch decision to call a run play or to call a pass play. So Bruce was an excellent quarterbacks coach for me those first 3 years. It's funny, he only really talks about kind of a couple of the successful seasons that we had. He seems to forget that he coached me into 28 interceptions as a rookie. I haven't seen that in his book, the QB Whisperer. That chapter seemed to have been eliminated. So this was back before he was wearing the cool hats as well. So, but Bruce stuck with me. I remember that season. It was tough. We only won 3 games. Man, he had my back. He said, hey, just keep learning. We're getting better. We're not seeing it in wins, but we are improving. And the next season we went 3-13 to 13-3. And I really give Bruce a lot of credit for having my back that whole season, really helping me understand just how fast the NFL is, because that's what having a fast twitch quarterback means, because the speed of the game is so intense that you better be able to process quickly and make quick decisions, and really give Bruce a lot of credit for helping me with that transition.
That's great. Thank you, Peyton. Let's go back to Mike Chappell. Mike, I think you've got a question now.
Yeah, Peyton, congratulations, and John as well. Peyton, you've mentioned that the last few weeks you've had a chance to reflect on a lot of things, player-wise and relationships. Did you know, going through the 2000s with Indy, what you guys had? I mean, you've been preceded by Pulling and Dungy and Marvin and Edgar and Reggie's knocking on the door, Robert Manley. You guys good. Did you know you had this?
Well, Mike, certainly while you're playing, it's not something that I think any of us were thinking about. We were thinking about, just the things I was talking about to Mark with, about trying to figure it all out, trying to win games. It was something that I could tell was a special group in those early years, that it was a bunch of guys that love football, Mike, that love to work hard. All those players that you mentioned, they were our hardest practicers on the field. I mean, to watch Marvin Harrison practice, I mean, Mike, you saw him a bunch, wearing your tank tops out there at Terre Haute practice. I have memories of that, and that Super Bowl logo jacket from like Super Bowl 14 that had a lot of stains on it. Great memories. But like watching Marvin Harrison practice, I mean, it just doesn't get any better than that, Mike. He catches a 5-yard pass and he sprints 50 yards down the field with nobody guarding him. And I saw that. Reggie Wayne saw that and said, hey, I want to practice that way. And everybody kind of bought in. So I don't think it was an accident that all those guys loved football and worked hard, because those are the kind of guys that Bill Polian and Tony Dungy were bringing in to the facility. We weren't bringing in a lot of guys that didn't love football or didn't like to work hard. So, but it's not something we sat around and talked about. But, you know, I think about Edgerrin and Marvin in 1999 being together and kind of beginning this turnaround in Indianapolis and kind of helping, you know, make it a true football town and football state. So proud to be going in with Edgerrin, and I was there for Marvin. Those are two of the first guys that I called, and I certainly see some of those other names you mentioned getting a knock on their door in the near future.
Thanks for the memories, Peyton.
Next question, Lindsey Jones.
Hi, this is for both of you guys. What does it mean for the two of you guys to be going in together? What sort of relationship have you guys built or maybe had while you guys were still playing? And then once you got to Denver, what does all this mean for you two?
Go ahead, John. Go ahead, John.
Lindsey, it's you know, it's a really good question. I got to know Peyton through competing against him, and then really at Pro Bowls. You know, at Pro Bowls, I think our wives would tell you that it was a little nauseating because we would sit there and talk football for hours, and drink Mai Tais for hours. You know, as we shared our love of the game and really just started to see that we had a lot of commonalities, as you do with so many people at the Pro Bowls. And so I got to know Peyton through that, admired and respected him obviously as a player, but really his passion for the game, I think, is what linked us. And then we started, you know, sharing a lot of things, our families, and everybody got to know each other. And so I would imagine, Lindsey, that this is special, whatever class you go in. I've been waiting for a while, but, you know, kind of like playing a Super Bowl in my hometown of San Diego. I feel like this is just meant to be, that we're here in Tampa. I'm staring at the convention center, and I'm laughing because as I was sitting with David Baker the other day and he was going through his orientation, I thought of all the days that myself and my wife Linda before practice would come to these stadium steps and run them, because I wanted to be the best that I could. I knew I had a special opportunity, and it didn't take off for me right away. I started as a special teams player my first couple of years, but you know, thank God for people like Tony Dungy and Herm Edwards and Monty Kiffin who saw and believed in me more than I believed in myself. And so grateful. But Peyton has become a tremendous friend and has always been a guy I rely on for advice when I'm making big decisions. And you know, I think he's done the same. So proud to go in, you know, and there's Hall of Famers, and then there's guys like Peyton that are some of the greatest players ever to play. And so it's an honor to go in with him for sure.
Yeah, likewise, Lindsey. Just to really appreciate John's friendship, and the Pro Bowl, unfortunately, is kind of maybe losing its fastball. It's before the Super Bowl now. You know, a lot of players aren't playing, and it once was a really good thing and a really cool thing. And it was cool about it was you got to know these people you were competing against, and got to talk to them about how they worked in the off season and the kind of film study. And I really cherish those opportunities to be around the other great players. Alan Faneca and I were teammates in a number of those, and John Lynch was on the other side, the enemy side, for a long time, being in the NFC, and he finally came over to the good side when he joined the Broncos. But every year we were together, and what he forgot to mention is that those Mai Tais, we were putting on whoever the rookie Pro Bowl participant was. We'd get his room number. John would get all those Mai Tais were being bought by a kicker for the Buffalo Bills. Mormon, I think Mormon bought a lot of rounds for us one year. So tremendous respect. And like I said, the best part about football for me, Lindsey, is that you don't get to play in Pro Bowls or get to play with Reggie Wayne play with Demaryius Thomas, but you still get to have those friendships and relationships, and those don't go away when you stop playing football. So the fact that John and I still have a special friendship, and the fact that he and I received this news the same year, I'm very honored by that, to be with him along with all the other inductees this year.
Yeah, I think I've got to check my Hall of Fame room service bill here, because this might explain a lot. Let's go to the Canton Repository's Steve Dorshek. Steve?
Thanks, Dave. This one's for John. John, from your perspective as a former quarterback, a safety, you studied quarterbacks all those years, and now a GM, why is it so hard to know when a kid's coming out of college that he's worth, say, a #1 overall pick? Is it just that there's a quarterback? Is it just that there aren't that many quarterbacks who are truly worth #1s, or why is it so hard?
Well, I think about that often. I think about it almost every day. And, I think the reason it's so hard is because they're few and far between guys like Peyton who have it all. And you have to have at that position. You have to have the ability. You have to have the talent, but you also have to have the mind. And probably most importantly, you have to have, I think about the greats, the Joe Montanas, the Peytons, the Tom Bradys, and it's really the heart. You have to have that will to do the extra and to live your life differently than people, because you're committing so hard to something. And finding that's probably the secret sauce. And so that's something we challenge our scouts every day. It's like, look, we can see on the film the greatness, but what is it that makes this guy tick? Because that's really, I think what separates and what we talk about the processing. That's obviously a skill. Peyton's ability to do that, and the greats, they have that ability, but the extra that they put in and the commitment that separates, and finding a way to quantify that is the challenge that everyone's looking for, and we'll continue to be looking.
Quick final, since Mahomes is in the Super Bowl tonight, but he was a number 10. Did you know that he had #1 talent, would draft him at #1, but why specifically on him did he drop?
Well, that's, that will probably haunt me for a while, because I remember going to his pro day, and, we were in a different place as an organization, and we had a different plan for quarterback. And so we really weren't, I remember going to his pro day, doing my job, but really it's kind of a smokescreen because we were going elsewhere. And then calling our head coach, Kyle, and saying, we might want to rethink this, because he put on a show. I mean, you talk about the talent. It was a windy day in Lubbock, and I remember standing next to, various NFL GMs and whatnot. Everybody's jaw was dropping because what he was doing, throwing the ball into the wind, and he finished with like an 80-yard throw. I mean, it was remarkable. And he's an incredible kid. We went to dinner with him, got to share, and started to see that he had those other elements that we were talking about, and wanted to be great. So he's a tremendous player, and he's on a trajectory that he'll go down as one of the greats if he keeps it up, and got a great opportunity to obviously add to that legacy later today.
Thanks, John. I think we have time for just 2 more questions here. So I'm going to call on Tom Akins for one. Tom?
Peyton, could you describe what the meaning of finally being a Hall of Famer means to you? You've accomplished so much in your career, and you gave me a HIPAA lesson back in our days in Indy, but now you have indeed become a Hall of Famer. What's it mean?
Well, Tom, thanks. As I've said past couple of days, it just means that I'm very grateful for a lot of people that have helped me in this journey. As I've said, this wouldn't be exciting, or wouldn't be special if you had to kind of take this ride of football alone, and to have family and teammates and coaches and fans and so many people, support staff, be a part of it. that's what it means to me, how lucky I was to have played the game for so long and gotten to meet so many great people. It's not a game or a throw that sticks out to me, Tom, that I think about. It's those friendships and relationships. And grew up around it. I loved it since I was a kid, because of my dad playing. Always wanted to be a football player. Never knew I was going to be. I hear people say I always knew this is what I was going to do. That wasn't the case for me. It's what I wanted to do. But I remember kind of realizing how hard it probably is. And so I worked hard in high school and college and in the NFL. But I've been to this ceremony. Some of the names mentioned, I've seen Marvin Harrison and Bill Polian and Tony Dungy get inducted. I was there for the Bolin family and Champ Bailey getting inducted. I understand the significance of it. I'm honored to represent the Indianapolis Colts and the Denver Broncos, as well as University of Tennessee, to join Doug Atkins and Reggie White as the only two Tennessee Vols to be in the Pro Football Hall of Fame and to represent my hometown of New Orleans. I think that's the great thing about the Pro Football Hall of Fame, is that you go in and you take all the schools and teams and people that have been a part of your football life with you. And I'm certainly honored to do that.
Hey, Peyton, if I could kind of ask a question as the chair, if you will, but what do you think this means to your dad, who has been such a great part of the history of the game and himself is a legend as well?
Well, my dad told me he's very proud. He wrote me a nice letter just last week. We certainly talked the day, Dave, that you came to Denver. I called my mom and dad. It was their 50th wedding anniversary. They were celebrating in the mountains of Tennessee, and so called them with the news. Ashley had already tipped them off, and they were certainly proud. And my dad's going to present me. I asked him to present me. He's had the greatest football impact on my football life, and just never was my coach. Was always there to help, and I sure did ask for his help a lot. And so he's certainly proud, and I'm just thankful to him for all the help and support he's given me throughout my life, and especially in my football life.
Peyton, we are all thankful to him. We're thankful to you. We're thankful to John. Let me kind of remind all of you that, again, on February 11th from 8 to 8:30, what I think is the coolest part of this is you'll get to see a little bit of the heart of these guys and how much they love the game and the people that help them make the journey when we have the Knock on the Door tour on the NFL Network. And I'd invite you all to share that with fans and your readers and listeners, viewers. And then on August 5th through the 9th, I truly believe we're going to have the greatest gathering in football ever between the Centennial class and the incredible class of 2021, including these two legends that you've talked to today. Not only great football players, but truly great men. And we're honored to have them forever in Canton, Ohio. Hall of Famer Peyton Manning and Hall of Famer John Lynch. Thank you all.